Buenas tardes, clase. Today we're going to learn about regular ER and IR verb conjugation. But first, just really quickly, we're going to review AR since it has been Christmas break and we want to make sure that you remember what I'm talking about here. So in regular AR verb conjugation, you have this chart, if you remember. We're going to quickly go over the subject pronouns. I'm not going to repeat these every time, but just here for the AR ones. Yo means I. Tú means you, él means he, ella means she, usted is you formal, nosotros or nosotras is we, vosotros or vosotras is you all, but it's informal and it's pretty much only used in Spain. So although I have you write it down, I don't often test you on it. Ellos or ellas is they, and ustedes is you all, which is the one that most countries use. All right, so for the AR verb conjugations, you should know these. It would be o, as, a, amos, and on. And then you have ice here if you care about that one. All right. So if we had a sentence that we would use these for, let's just quickly go over one. Let's see, with the verb hablar. Do you remember what hablar means? It's to talk or to speak. So I speak would be yo hablo. You speak would be tú hablas. He speaks would be él habla. We speak would be nosotros hablamos. And then they speak would be ellos hablan. And so on and so forth. That should seem really familiar to you. So we're going to go ahead and learn the conjugations for ER and IR. Now the cool thing is, in ER and IR, within the boot, they are the same conjugation. When I say within the boot, this is what I'm talking about. This shape. So these four are going to be the same for both ER and IR, which leaves only nosotros up here and then vosotros here as different. But with the nosotros and vosotros, as you know, vosotros is really only used in Spain, which means you really don't need to remember it that much. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you the conjugations for each. All right, for the yo form, they both end in O, actually, which is just like the A, R. For the to form, they both end in ES. For the LAO stead form, they both end in E. For nosotros, this is where we get different. The ER end in EMOS, and the IR end in IMOS. All right, so this would be hemos for the ER over on this side. This right here, that would be hemos. And for the IR, we have hemos. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the vosotros for you, although you don't need to memorize it. The ER is, oh, excuse me, I don't know what just happened. Ace, and the IR is is. All right, and then lastly, we have for ellos and ustedes, N and N, because it's both the same. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples of these. So let's see, in the past you have already learned a few verbs that this would go with. You've learned comer, right, which is to eat. You've learned escribir, which is to write. So let's translate a couple sentences. What would be I eat? Well, I eat would be yo como, right? What about we eat? We eat would be nosotros comemos. All right. What about you write? You write. Well, that would be tú escribes. And lastly, what about they write? That would be ellos or ellas escriben. All right. So again, pretty simple. It's nice that they're both very similar. So now we're going to go ahead and learn some new verbs for ER and IR so that we can expand our vocabulary. So I'm going to list the verbs here, and I want you to write them down in your notes. Okay? We have aprender. Aprender, which means to learn. Next is comprender. And comprender means to understand. You've probably heard the phrase before, no comprendo. Well, think about that. No comprendo. This ending right here, comprendo, would mean it has to be in the yo form. So this is saying, I do not understand. Right? So that's pretty simple. All right, the next verb is vender. Vender means to sell. Okay. And then lastly for ER verbs is ver. And ver means to see. Now just so you know, in this one, the yo has a special thing, and it's vo. You go ahead and leave that E in, even though technically you're supposed to take off the ER. They do leave it for the yo form on there. They leave the vo. So there are 4 new ER verbs for your vocab. Let's go ahead and repeat those one more time. Aprender, comprender, vender, and ver. All right, let's go ahead and learn 4 IR ones, and then we'll be done. So for IR, first we have abrir. Abrir means to open. Next we have compartir. Compartir means to share, which you can remember because you can remember you want a part of it to share. All right. Next we have recibir. Recibir means to receive. And lastly, for our IR verbs, I have vivir. This one you should know. It should look familiar to you, although we didn't conjugate it fully before. You did conjugate it for the yo form, and that is to live. So let's go ahead and repeat each of those. Abrir, compartir, recibir, and vivir. All right, lastly, we're going to look at just a couple of sentences as examples, and then we will be done. So with our new verbs, translate for me this sentence. I learn Spanish. I learn Spanish. So that would be yo aprendo español. Yo aprendo español. All right, one more. He shares his lunch. He shares his lunch. You know what? Let's go ahead and bring in a frequency adverb too. He always shares his lunch. He always shares his lunch. That would be él siempre comparte su almuerzo. Él siempre comparte su almuerzo. All right, well, now you have a whole new world of verb conjugations, and this will greatly help you as you look to form more sentences. And I will see you in class. Hasta luego.